Namaskar. This is an online Gurukulam by the Indian Yoga Association, and today my topic is karma. All of us are born. We don't even know why we are born. But once we are born, we should know what we are supposed to do. Every child, when he is born, he's been looked after by nature. You have your mother has a milk in her breast. Nature is there, water is there, air is there, sun is there. All these things are there. They are helping child to grow. Similarly, as you grow, you get all varieties of things to eat, to survive. Farmers are doing their job, so they are growing wheat, rice and all these things. Engineers are doing their job, so the transport system, bridges and planes and trains are made. Laborers are doing their job. Everybody is doing their part. And all that helps in our growth, in our survival. So it is very, very obvious that I have been looked after by the whole world. Similarly, I should also contribute my part into the world. No? So we should be doing something. So what is mentioned? They say that everyone is supposed to do their duties in life, dharma in life. It is my duty to take care of myself, to take care of everybody who is around me, and so on. I should be doing my duty. And when we do my duty, we are doing action. Ultimately, everything boils to action. Now, we must know how we should do our action. If we do wrong action, its effect would be wrong. Good action, its effect would be good. So this action theory, karma theory, we all should know thoroughly well. This is a very scientific theory. It tells you how to do action and where you should be very much clear about doing your action and so on. So, now, it is the natural law. As you sow, so shall you reap. जैसा करोगे वैसा भरोगे. जो बोया वो ही उगेगा. If I put a seed of a mango, I will get mango. If I put seed of coconut, I'll get coconut. But putting seed of mango and expecting coconut would be wrong. What you put, you will get. So this theory makes things very clearly. It is very scientific. Science also, in schools you must have studied. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Well, fine, but karma theory goes much bigger way, in a larger way. Like, I put my finger on a hot plate. Reaction, I am going to get burned. Oh, it would be too painful. But this pain doesn't finish there, no. It continues for a long time. Sometimes that pain may become into big blister and then it may break, it may cause pus. And sometimes that pain I'll have for maybe a month or two. One action, my suffering is so long. So it is not just reaction. It is something more. And so we always understand this theory as cause and effect theory. Whatever you have an effect, there is some cause behind it. Whatever is happening in our life, there is some cause behind it. Nothing just happens as it is. Nothing comes from the air just like that. There is some reason behind it. So if we are born in a particular place, if we have particular people, if we have particular friends, if we like something, dislike something, we have a cause behind it. And so understand that cause and try to see that you become more aware about all the actions you are doing. Maybe this theory could be understood by many stories. Rather, I would tell you varieties of stories today to make you understand this karma theory. If I do an action of help, now understand, you wanted some help, so I also felt I can help and I helped you. But then my expecting that you should help me in return when I am in a need is wrong. It is not action-reaction. But understand that I have done an action of help, so I am going to be helped. When I need help or when the right time comes, the help will come to me may not be from your side, but from any other side, from the world, from anywhere. So, whatever action I do, I may be doing for you, but that action goes into the world, and from world it attracts the same action, it comes back to me. This is cause and effect theory. So make things very much clear that no action goes waste. I have done something for you, you have forgotten, you don't even remember, or you want me to help you more and more, which I can't. But I have done some action of help. I am going to be helped from anywhere, from any area. Anybody whom I don't even know may come to me to give me a helping hand. All that can happen. In Mumbai, where I am, where the Yoga Institute, in big city like Bombay, where there was a once it was a heavy flood here. All the gutters were choked, heavy rain, and the water came to that level where all the roads were in water, and people had to walk in water up to shoulder level water. So here was the case when at Churchgate station from the main street, people started walking. They had to come to here Santa Cruz. There was no transport available, nothing available. You had to only walk. Some roads were at a height so you could see the roads. Some roads were so deep that water will come up to shoulder, somewhere from the waist, somewhere up to knee. And slowly, one gentleman was walking from there. There were many people who were holding hands with each other when they were on the main road. They were walking for 8 to 9 hours. They just slowly walked. And finally, they reached up to Santa Cruz station. Now this gentleman had to take a turn. So leave the main road and go to the gully because his house was over there. But he saw that whole area was totally full with water. He could see only water, no road. And he was just struggling. How do I move ahead now? Nobody else. Now there was some support. Now all the people, they left. He was alone. And suddenly he found somebody was coming there. And he says, where do you want to go? And he says, well, here to the Yoga Institute. He says, I am also going there. Please hold my hand. And they held each other's hand and started walking. And then they came to the other side. And then they started walking, and slowly they came here. Who was that gentleman who came to help? Just help comes. And you are safe and alive. Near Yoga Institute, just 2 bungalow ahead, it was his house where he lived. And he could reach his house at night 3 o'clock. But reach safely. Understand, you have done an action of help somewhere. Here you get help from unknown place, but you get help. So this is what is called as karma theory. I give you another example. Now an example from Ramayana. In Ramayana, the case of King Dashrath. King Dashrath was a great archer. He was so great that he doesn't have to even look at the target to throw his arrow. He can just hear the sound. Karna Bedi. He can just hear the sound and he will throw his arrow and it would hit the target. So he was very good in all these things. So what happened, one day he was out for hunting. It was this king's morning sport, it is. Going to jungle on the horse, running here and there and hunting big animals, wild animals. So he was on his sport game. And he was out and suddenly he heard some sound, guduk guduk. Somebody he felt was some big animal has come to drink water at the river, which is there on the, say, 1 kilometer away. But that sound was very clear. So he just threw his arrow there, thinking it must be some big animal. And he threw the arrow and arrow hit the target. And then with his horse, when he ran to see what did he kill, he was shocked to see that there was no big animal or a wild animal. It was a young boy who had gone there to get the water for his parents, who were there sitting who were blind. They looked blind and they must be thirsty. So he went to get the water from there. And the arrow hit him straight. And the boy was dying. King was totally heartbroken, crying loudly, "What have I done? This was not my intention at all. What have I done?" And he was into very pathetic condition. And the boy said, "Look, who are you?" He says, "I'm the king of this place." "Oh, king, I'm dying. I'm Shravan Kumar. I'm dying. My parents are thirsty. Please give them water and look after them." And he died. Now king was very, very disturbed, but now he had to do his duty. He went to those parents of this boy, Shravan Kumar, and the parents could sense something wrong. He says, "Please drink water." He said, "No, first tell us, who are you?" He said, "I am king of this place, King Dasharath." And this has happened unknowingly. I thought it was a wild animal and I threw arrow, but it was your son who was taking water. That sound I couldn't understand. And now I did understand that sound was water, somebody is drinking water, but it was by mistake. And I'm so sorry for that. Now you are my parents. I'll take care of you. You will be with me in my house, my palace. So please now accept me. Please forgive me. I'm very sorry about it. But parents said, "No, we don't want to live now. Without our son, we don't want to live. We are dying. But O king, the way in which we are dying at the loss of our son, in the same way, O king, you will also die." The curse was there. Of course, curse or no curse, this is karma theory. What action you do, you have to face the same consequences of the action. And it happened that when Ram left Ayodhya for 14 years of exile, king also longing for his son, Ram, longing for his son, finally he also died. Now, what do we learn from this theory? All these were written in Ramayana. But what do we learn? As a householder, we would not be going for hunting and all that. That is not at all allowed and required. We would be doing all other actions. But now what do we learn is just hearing and believing, just seeing and believing. Don't ever do. You should be very careful before you do your action. You may be expert in doing your work, but still, sometimes when people are expert, they become casual while doing the work. You should know. You may be expert, you know everything thoroughly well, yet you have to be careful before you do any action. Because once you do action, that's it. That binds you. Good action, good result. Bad action, bad result. It binds you. And so, do your action with great carefulness, with full focus. Then only you do your action. Otherwise, don't do. Who is telling you to do? Don't do action. So here, we learn a big lesson that be careful, howsoever expert you are, still you should be careful when you are doing your action. Okay. So there is another story now in Mahabharata. There are lots of stories. I am just picking up one from each epic. Mahabharata story. War. One side Pandavas, one side Kauravas, and the war is going on. And finally, Arjun's arrows started piercing Bhishma Pitamaha's body, and finally Bhishma Pitamaha fell down. Bhishma Pitamaha was lying down on the bed of arrows. And in that condition, Bhishma finally decided that now my job is over. I don't want to live. My job is over. He was given a boon that nobody can kill him. So he didn't die in spite of all this. He didn't die. He was very much fresh and alive. But he started thinking that now my job is over, because now Pandavas are there who are definitely following the path of dharma, duty, and they are on the right path, righteous path. And then Krishna is there with them. So God itself is there with them. So good is going to win, bad is going to be destroyed. Adharma will go away, it would be destroyed. And so now my work is over. So now I want to leave my body. And then he calculated which is the day. And then he decided that after 7 days, I will leave my body. So he announced that after 7 days, I am leaving, I am going now. So once this news reached Pandavas, they came running to meet him. He was lying down on the field, and the ground, battlefield. And they came. It was evening time. They came to meet him. And then they said that, sir, you are leaving. But sir, please tell us, the lives which you have lived, so many lives, we people will not be living that much life. We would be living 100 years here and there, plus or minus. How should we live our life? Please give your wisdom to us. How should we live our life? And Bhishma said, Shariram madhyam khalu dharma sadhanam. It is only through the medium of your body that you will be doing your dharma, your actions. So keep your body absolutely fit and fine. See that your body is healthy, it has stamina, it has good immunity, it is flexible, it is disease free. It's your duty, your responsibility to see that your body is fit and fine. Body means even mind, because if mind is disturbed, body gets disturbed. If mind has tension, worry, anxiety, directly it affects the body, and all sorts of diseases come in body. And so he said this. First thing is take care of yourself. And don't do any such thing which will hurt and harm your body. So all these things like smoking and drinking and all the different addiction, which is directly hurting and harming, or all such foods which are too much excessive, very highly processed, highly refined, packeted foods, all these are also directly affecting the body. So avoid these things, remain healthy. Second, he says, respect time. Because all of us are born with a particular time, the death with which we are born. Yoga says, Satu mole tad vipako jati ayur bhogaha. When we are born with these three things: Jati, Ayu and Bhog. The type of person we are, that is fixed. We are born with certain traits in our personality. Somebody gets angry very easily, somebody worries very much, somebody is always fearful, somebody talks too much, somebody reacts immediately, somebody hardly thinks and reacts. So varieties of such people are there, and that trait we are born with. So if you have a trait of getting angry, you will definitely get angry throughout life. Only see to it that under the influence of anger, you are not doing any action. That would be because action is going to bind you. You will have to face the consequences of your action. You can't say that's my nature, I get angry, but once I express it out, then I am very calm. That has no meaning. Fine. You get angry, fine. But then doing action, be careful. That action will come back to you. So we have to understand this very well when we talk about Jati. Second is Ayu, lifespan. You are born with a fixed lifespan according to your karmas, which you have done in past. We are coming to that. So when the time of death comes, you will be gone. Till that time, nobody can kill you. So you don't live under fear and pressure. You live comfortably without fear of death. Because when death comes, you have no time even to think about it. It just comes. But as long as you are living, live systematically. Do karma with balanced state of mind. Don't do karma if your state is imbalanced. If you find you are angry, don't do any action. First, remove your anger down. If you are disturbed, remove your disturbance down. If you are sad, remove your sadness down. Otherwise, what action you will do? You would like to commit suicide or do this or that. Wrong actions. So, be very clear that you have to remember that we are living under time pressure, and so we should keep that in mind and live our life. So Ayu. And third is Bhoga. Whatever experience you are going to get in life, they are all roughly fixed. If you have to experience accident, you will be experiencing accident. If you have to experience business going down, you will be definitely getting that. But now all these things can be handled if you decide to remain balanced and do your duty in life. That's why yoga says focus on your duty and everything will fall at its own place. Ups and downs are part and parcel of life. You have to focus on your duty. So try and do this. So Jati, Ayu and Bhog, all that depends upon your karma. Bhishma Pitama, after saying all that, he says that every human should respect time and live under time pressure. Means don't waste time, don't just do nothing. You should be doing some useful things in life. Doing nothing means if you are relaxing also, relax well. Sleeping, sleep well. Eating your food, eat well. You should be focused and doing your job and not do any work casually. So all that he spoke, and then he wanted to talk to Krishna. Krishna was standing somewhere far. He says, Krishna, I can't get up and come to you. Please come to me. Please come closer to me. And Krishna came closer to him. He says, Krishna, I want to ask you one question. What is it? He says, now I have decided to die. But why should I get such type of death where my whole body is pierced through and through with arrows? This means I must have done some karma. But I know I have not done any of such karma which will give me such a result that my body is through and through. Krishna said, look, you are wise. You know that whatever happens in our life happens because of our own action done in our past. So this law is very clear. You have put something and you are getting that thing. Bhishma again argued. He says, no, Krishna, I am very careful about doing every action of mine. I know karma theory. I am very careful. I don't think I have done any such action to face such a consequence. Krishna again says, law is very scientific. It's very clear. There is nothing which you can doubt about this law. You must have done some karma. He says, no. So let's find out, Krishna said. So he started showing the film. He started showing he was God. So he started that in this whole life, no, you have not done any such thing. Previous life, no. Still previous life, no. They went up to 16 lives ahead. Birth, death, 16 life ahead. And there was one scene and Krishna stopped the movie there. He says, see what happened. And what was that? Bhishma was traveling from one village to another village. In between there was jungle. And he was going ahead on his horse carriage. And suddenly he saw one big snake lying down across the path. It was lying across the path. He saw the snake and he just stopped. He pulled the reins and horses stopped. He said, I can't kill this snake. Snake is lying down. If I ride over it, drive over it, snake will die. Or snake may bite horses, horses may die. It's not right, and I have no right to kill anybody because I am in jungle. Jungle is their house. I am not supposed to do anything. So he tried to move the earth here and there, make some sound here and there so that snake may go away. But snake didn't move, didn't budge. After trying so much, then no choice, he got down himself from his carriage. And he went to snake. He saw that snake is alive, not dead. So he went closer to snake, caught snake from his mouth and caught the other body, entire body of the snake in his other hand and just flung the snake on the side where small bushes were there. He didn't throw snake on the ground, stone. it would hurt him. So he saw that he will throw it in the bushes. So he threw snake into bushes. He saw snake was there. So he again sat in his carriage and went away. His intention was not to hurt or kill snake. He didn't know that those bushes were bushes of thorns. They were covered with green leaves, fresh green leaves. And so he couldn't realize it. And those thorns, they just pierced snake's body. Snake fell on the thorns and these thorns started piercing snake's body. And after practically 7 days, snake died. Here also, Bhishma had taken a decision that after 7 days he will leave his body. So now, you may believe in these things or not believe in these things. That doesn't matter. What do we learn? First of all, whatever action we do, we should continue the action to its end. Don't leave action halfway. Finally, what could be its effect, you should see through long. Be very, very clear when you are doing any action. For example, beggar is bothering you and you give money to beggar. Now you have done an action. You think you have given money to beggar, but then you don't know that money which you have given would be used by beggar in what way. You don't know that beggar. That beggar may gamble with the money, or that beggar may smoke with that money, or that beggar may go and have some pizzas and burgers with that money, or beggar may have banana. You have no idea. You are just giving and forgetting, which is wrong. Don't give money to beggars. Give money to those people who are working hard, those who are there in front of you. You know them thoroughly well. If suppose beggar is hungry, you find, you can take beggar, tell him to take him to a hotel and tell him, eat whatever you want, fill your stomach, and the bill you pay. That could be done. But when money, that money, how it is going to be used, you have no idea. Don't do that. Don't just give money. Use it properly. Money should be used properly. So people who are working around us, whom you know thoroughly well, how they are working and how sometimes they don't have much comforts even to pay fees to their children. Come on, go ahead, help them. Many things you can do when you are sure what you are doing. So, this lesson we have to learn in life, that every action you do, think before you are doing any action. Don't just do as it is. Yoga means thinking before doing action. That's yoga. So, this is another story where we learn something. I give you another story again. Now from Ramayana and Mahabharata we have seen. But now let's learn something from today, this world. In Mumbai, High Court is there, and there was a judge of High Court. In month of May, he had a vacation. All the courts are closed in month of May. It's a vacation. This judge decided that he wanted to write a book, and so he would go somewhere at a remote place where nobody knows him, and he would write the book and finish the book in this May month. So he hired one small room in remote village, Gujarat, and he went there. That village was not developed village, but it was beautiful, scenic, greenery, river, everything was wonderful there. And he just loved that place, that cool breeze, that nice atmosphere. So he was there writing his book, but there was that facility of washroom, toilet was not there. He didn't mind carrying some water in the morning, going to outside, sitting below a bush in the jungle and finishing your morning duty, washing yourself and coming back. He didn't mind doing that. But whole day and all the other facilities were very good. So he started. The days and the whole month practically was getting over, and his book also was getting over. And it was the last day, second last day. The situation happened like that he went in the morning with water and sat below one bush to pass his motion. At that time, he saw one man pulling another man, hitting him badly on his eyes and nose and ear. Badly, that man was under pain, half conscious, and he was being dragged by this man. He pulled him and threw him below another bush, which was just opposite to this fellow, this judge's bush. He threw him there. That fellow, by the time he could settle down, this fellow removed a knife from his pocket and stabbed him. He was flat on the ground and he stabbed him at 4-5 different places and literally killed that fellow. And then he wiped his knife with the shirt of that person, disease, and kept the knife in his pocket and went away. This judge saw very clearly who is the murderer. And then it happened that he had to leave the village. He did hear that police has become very active and he is catching people here and there because some murder has taken place and so on. But he came back to Mumbai and he started his practice again. Going on, months went on, but after 4 months, this case of this murder came in front of his court. And the man whom they had brought, a murderer, was somebody else and not same which he had seen. And the way in which arguments took place from both the sides and all that, it was practically 15 eyewitnesses were there to say that this fellow is the murderer whom they had brought. And that person was telling, sir, please believe me, I have not murdered. I have been caught in some politics. I have not murdered at all, please believe me. But then the case went in such a way that even judge had to give a verdict that this fellow should be hanged. After giving this verdict, he came home, of course. But at night, till 2 o'clock, he couldn't sleep. He felt that I know very well that this fellow is not the murderer. And I have to give such punishment because of all the arguments and counter arguments, the way in which it was proved. I'm feeling very helpless here. But then he couldn't resist himself. He just went at night in jail to meet this fellow. This fellow was sitting in the corner crying. The judge took a stool, sat near him and said, look, I am that judge who has given you this punishment of hanging. But I know very well that you have not murdered this fellow. I know it. That fellow had a ray of hope. He says, sir, please believe me. I have not murdered him. He says, I believe you. I know it and I believe you. You have not murdered this fellow. He says, sir, please help me. Please help me. Remove this punishment. Please help me. He says, yes, I'll definitely help you. But first, give me one answer. I'm going to ask you a question. You have to speak truth, not a lie at all. Speak truth. He says, definitely, sir, I will speak truth because you have come to me to save my life. So I'll definitely speak the truth, 100% truth. What do you want to know? Judge said, look, I know this murder you have not done. But have you done any such murder where you murdered somebody but you were not caught and nobody knew about it? This fellow heard that. After half a minute of silence, he says, yes, sir, I did murder one person 4 months back. I was given money to murder that fellow and I murdered him. At that time, there was a flood in our village 4 or 5 months back, flood in our village, and I threw that fellow's body in the water. It just went away. Nobody bothered. I got my money. Nobody bothered at all about it. That matter was over. But this I have not done and I am punished for this murder. Judge heard that. He just left the jail, came back home, and he started thinking that what type of judgment and what type of law and order is here in the world. That fellow has murdered somebody 4 months back. Nobody knows about it. He is moving around. The murderer is moving around very naturally among everybody around. No problem at all. And here he has not murdered and he is punished for murder. What type of judgment? What is going on? No, there is some other law which is running the whole show. So this judge wrote a resignation, a letter of resignation, that from today I don't want to remain a judge. I am resigning from my post. And this judge resigned from his post. And then he started studying more and more, started doing lots of survey and researches to see that how a karma theory, you do your action, you have to face the consequences. Immediately, instantly you may not, but somewhere you will have to face the consequences. You can't run away from your karma. And so this is that karma theory. And he has written even a book on Karma Ka Siddhant, where he has so many examples given that how karma done at one time, how the effect is there at other time, and in what way it works, and so on and so forth. Here, we are trying to understand that, come on, you better learn from all these things, that bad actions are bad actions. Killing somebody, hitting somebody, it's obviously bad. Cheating somebody, all these things, terrorism, all these things are obviously absolutely bad karmas. These are called as black karmas, and they should never be done. Against it, caring, helping, being useful to somebody, compassion, friendliness, all these things are good karmas. And we should be doing them, and we will face that consequences. But we do some karmas which are mixed karma. One karma is good, one karma is bad. Somewhere we speak lies, somewhere we are very helpful, somewhere we hurt somebody, somewhere we want to insult somebody, somewhere we want to put him down in front of others. We may do many such things, criticize somebody. These are bad karmas. And somewhere you are helping. Here you go out of the way to be with deaf people, dumb people. Here you are doing something, social work for some children, collecting money, helping them in doing something. So here are good karmas. Intentions are good to help. So we do such mixed karma. Shukla and Krishna karma, it is called. I am not going into theory. Mixed karma. So usually people feel that one or two bad karmas we have done. So let us do some good karmas also. So life would be normal. But it doesn't happen like that. Let me make it very much clear. If you have done bad karma, you will have to face the consequences of bad. Somebody will do bad to you. If you have cheated somebody, your own son may cheat you, or your own best friend may cheat you, and you may feel, how could they cheat me? I trusted them, but you have done some bad karma somewhere. Somewhere you have shouted at some innocent person, and here you will find your own son shouting at you. So that karma is going to come back to you. Bad, bad effect. Good karma, good effect. They both don't mix together. There is no mathematics here. It is very simple. Do and get, give and get. No combination, no calculation. Life can't be lived with calculation. You have to just flow with situation and be very much alert and aware that whenever you do action, you are doing good amount of action, right action. So this karma theory is very, very clear that we make things to realize that ultimately I am responsible for my things in life. I don't blame anybody that he cheated me, so my business went down. He cheated you because somewhere you must have cheated him in past. You don't even know. In past means the previous births. And this birth, it has to come back to you. In the whole life it comes back to you. It can. Or you may die because your time of death has come, so you will die. But next birth you will face. Or if not, still more previous birth you will be able to face. But yes, this is how our life goes. So be very, very clear Believing or not believing doesn't matter. There are some religion who don't believe in birth after death. You may not, but right now what karma you are doing, at least understand that you will have to face this birth itself, and maybe. So try and be very much clear about your karmas. You see, there is one more last story in Mahabharata, that when all Pandava children and Kauravas, they were being taught by their guru in jungle, they were given lessons by Dronacharya. And Dronacharya comes and says, today one lesson, Satyam Vada. Do you remember? Repeat, Satyam Vada. Satyam Vada means speak truth. Lesson is over. Tomorrow children were asked, what did you learn yesterday? Everybody said Satyam Vada, Satyam Vada. But the elder of Pandavas, Yudhishthir, kept quiet. Guru saw. He says, Yudhishthir, what was the lesson? He kept quiet. I don't know. What? Come on. Remember and come tomorrow. Again he was asked. No, I don't know. You don't understand Satyam Vada? He says, I do. But I watch my life and I see so very often I speak lies. And very often we speak lie. I'm coming in 5 minutes. And that 5 minutes go up to 15 minutes. Or a second. Wait a second. That second just goes like that. We are not even speaking, aware about what we speak. And real lies also we go very often to save ourselves, to protect ourselves. So little things we go on doing. We are not that aware about our karmas. Speak itself is karma. When you speak, we are doing karma. We have 5 karmendriyas with us. The 5 organs of actions are hands, feet, speech, genital organs and excretory organs. So through these 5 organs, we are doing our karmas. We have to be careful, extra careful in doing our karmas, because that makes our life. We make our own world. We create our own destiny. Don't blame anybody else for that. We have to be very much alert and aware about our actions. So do your actions with full awareness and your life would be beautiful. Okay? Namaskar.